Hello, this is Cathy Cassidy. I'm here to read you another chapter of Scarlett, and of course for all of you who have been listening along, you will know that this chapter, chapter 28, is a very dramatic one. It's got to be, because we're kind of reaching the whole kind of turning point of the story. But I'm going to just keep you hanging on a tiny bit longer because I had a couple of shout outs to do. I wanted to say a special hello to the fantastic 6th class at Scoil Muda na Gael. And yeah, I'm sorry, I know my Irish is rubbish, but hey, I did my best. This school is a fantastic school in Dundalk, and I met 6th class last year, last early autumn, when I went over to Dundalk Library, and this class from this particular school came in as part of the audience. I was doing a little Irish book tour as part of Children's Books Ireland, and I was told that this lovely class, who listened so beautifully and asked such fab questions, did not or will not get the chance to graduate properly from primary school, and now going up after the summer to secondary, but because of lockdown they don't get their special graduation. But I know that some of them are listening along to the story, so a very special hiya to you guys. You are amazing, and secondary school will be a doddle. You'll be fab. So we also had a comment maybe a week or so ago from George, who had mentioned that they hadn't been read to since childhood, and I thought of asking whether anyone else had any example of being read out loud to. And Francesca said that she hadn't been read to since she was a child, and Wajiha said that it took her right back to 2nd grade when they had a lovely teacher who would read the Roald Dahl story Matilda to the class, and Wajida said that was quite magical, and that listening to the chapters of Scarlett captured the same kind of magic, and that comment totally made my day. It was fab. And Ella Ann says that it reminds her of reading or of listening to Discworld audiobooks back in the day. And Natalie says that she's not been read to since childhood, but she really loves podcasts and audiobooks. And my fab friend Kiki, also has not been read to since the age of 6 or 7, but loves podcasts, and at the moment is listening to Sculptor's Daughter by Tove Jansson. And Tove is actually the creator of the Moomins, and Sculptor's Daughter is a book that I have on my shelf ready to be read. So I hope you're enjoying that, Kiki. Awesome. So here we are, chapter 28. I will not keep you waiting any longer, and here comes the drama. The electricity's gone. The phone line is dead, and Claire is bruised, concussed, and in labour at not quite 8 months pregnant. The baby is not due until the end of August. We're 8 miles from the nearest village, more than 30 miles from the hospital, and Dad and Holly are miles away in Galway, delivering boxes of lemon Zinga soap and eating pizza for lunch. Claire, what shall I do? I whine again, but Claire is lost in her own world, drifting somewhere between pain and sleep. Open your eyes, I tell her. Get up, Claire, it's important. You need to stay awake. Keep walking, okay? Okay, she says hazily. We walk around the kitchen a few times until Claire is halted by another contraction. She gives a low animal groan that makes me shudder, and I realise that unless I do something fast, I'm going to be delivering this baby myself on the kitchen floor. I'll get help, I promise Claire. I'll find somebody. Get us to the hospital, okay? I won't be long. Keep walking, okay? Stay awake. It's just past 1, and Kian will be at the loch waiting for me. He'll know what to do. Claire looks at me in horror as I open the door, step out into the rain. Please stay, she whimpers. I feel torn, but I've no choice. I need to get help. I run down the lane, splashing through puddles, brushing against the wet leaves of the fuchsia hedge. It's still raining, and by the time I reach the edge of the woods, my clothes are soaked. I plunge into the trees, stumbling over the roots and stumps, hurtling towards the loch. A branch catches the hem of my red skirt, ripping it slightly, but I don't stop running. Kian, I scream as I run. Kian, help! Any minute he'll hear me. He'll come riding through the trees on midnight, and they can go for help while I wait with Clare. Any minute. Kian, I shout, my lungs burning. Kian, where are you? Help me, please. I stumble out of the woods and onto the grass at the water's edge. Kian is not there. I scan the hillside, rain running down my face. There is no sign of Kian or midnight. The loch is deserted, silent and brooding under the darkened sky. No fishermen, no tourists, nobody at all. I stand still, my breath coming in gasps. He said he'd be here. He promised. Kian has always been here when I needed him. Today, though, when it really, really matters, I'm on my own. Maybe he's hauling canvas over new-made hayricks or sheltering with midnight until the storm passes. He'll be here soon. So why does the loch feel so silent, deserted? My eyes fix onto the wishing tree, searching through the rags and ribbons that hang heavy, dripping from its branches. My heart is pounding. I tear at the branches, pulling them out of the way, until I can see the forked branches in the centre of the tree where Kian's rucksack should sit. There's no rucksack, no bedroll, nothing, just a wisp of wet hay clinging onto a branch. Everything's gone. I wasn't worth a promise, an extra day, not even a goodbye. I want to scream, I want to howl, I want to lie down on the wet grass and never get up. But there's no time for any of that. I have to be strong because Clare needs me. I have to help her because there is nobody else left to do it. I tear a strip of ripped red fabric from the hem of my skirt and tie it onto the highest branch. Please, I'm whispering into the hazel leaves, please let Clare be okay. Let the baby survive. Let it all work out. Please, please. But the tree just shakes rain down on me, and I turn away, helpless. I run back through the woods and out onto the lane, and by the time I reach the gate, the clouds are lifting and a few bright rays of sun shine through. Beyond the dripping fuchsia hedges to my left, in the distance, a shimmering rainbow arches across the valley, and I stare at last, and as I stare at last, my heart lifts. I can hear something in the distance, the hum of a car motor. All I can do is step into the middle of the road, drenched, my breath coming in gasps. The engine gets louder, and after an eternity, a red Skoda swerves into sight. Stop, I shout, running drunkenly towards the bonnet. Please, please stop. The car slows, coming to a halt right beside the gate. I stagger over to the driver's door, wait for the window to buzz down. Hi there, says an American tourist in a palm tree print shirt, grinning widely. Some weather you get around these parts, huh? Beside him, a middle-aged blonde in a pink t-shirt leans over, pointing to the sign on the gate. Holly's cardboard notice, drawn out in a dozen different felt pen colours, is all smeared and running in the rain. Honey, the blonde woman says, we've come to buy eggs. We brought some last week from the little girl with the bunches. Best eggs we've ever eaten. We'll take another dozen, please. Her husband frowns, looking me up and down. Say, he says slowly, are you okay? The American tourists are called Ed and Sylvie, and they are driving Clare and me to Castlebar Hospital. Sylvie sits in the back with Clare, mopping her face with wet wipes and telling her to breathe, while I struggle with the road map in the passenger seat, directing Ed through the lanes, past Killimore and on towards Castlebar. Stay calm, kid, he tells me, snapping his gum. Sylvie has had 4 little uns of her own. She knows all about this childbirth business. Most natural thing in the world, Sylvie says. My 3rd now, he came early too. And kinda unexpected. 3 pounds 11 ounces he was. He's 6'2" now and running his own company. Just keep breathing, Clare, don't worry about a thing. I'll be fine, Clare says shakily from the back. Really, Scarlett, I'm sorry to frighten you. You didn't, I protest. I was worried, that's all. You kept going all woozy and sleepy on me, and then when the baby started, I just didn't know what to do. You did fine, Clare reassures me, then takes a deep breath in as a fresh wave of pain hits her. Breathe, honey, Sylvie tells her. Breathe through the pain. There. Now relax. The contractions are still around 5 minutes apart, so there's no need to panic yet. We'll get you to the hospital, honey. Everything's going to be just fine. Clare's hand reaches forward to stroke my hair. Stop worrying, Scarlett, she says. I felt really woozy back there, but my head's much clearer now. I've got a splitting headache, though. Maybe it'll take my mind off the contractions. They won't know which bit of you to check out first, Sylvie laughs, but you seem okay to me. Didn't anyone tell you not to go climbing ladders when you're 34 weeks pregnant? My fault, I say gloomily. I should have stopped you. Nobody's fault, Clare corrects me. I'd have been fine if it hadn't been for the power cut. And the flip-flops, I remind her. And the flip-flops. Okay, so maybe that bit was my fault, Clare admits. Never, never blame yourself, though, Scarlett. Promise me that. Her voice trails off as another wave of pain hits. Try that phone again, Ed tells me. I go back to punching numbers into Ed's mobile. Dad's number is still dead. His mobile must be switched off. But after a few attempts, I get through to the hospital and begin a garbled explanation of what's happening. Tell them the contractions are 5 minutes apart, Sylvie instructs, and I pass on the information. The duty nurse wants to know how far we are from Castle Bar. 10, 15 miles, I hazard, frowning at the map. She tells us to drive safely and that they'll be ready for us when we arrive. A midwife and doctor standing by. I end the call. There's some murmuring in the back of the car. When Clare looks up, surfacing from yet another contraction, she looks lost and anxious, her face pale, her lips grey. Ed, honey, Sylvie says, I don't really want to deliver this baby in a hire car by the side of the road. Be an angel and step on the gas, would you? So that's today's chapter done and dusted, and as you can see, things are getting a little bit scary. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you ever so for sticking with it this long. Thank you also to everybody who is leaving little comments on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook shares or wherever else. If I see your comment, I definitely will reply, so if I'm missing any, please tell me. Thank you. Let me know, out of interest, whether you are tuning in every single day for a chapter by chapter story, or whether you are saving the chapters up to read as a binge kind of listen. Let me know what works for you. Anyway, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you tomorrow.